welcome to the College Hockey South YouTube channel, and welcome to College Hockey Game Day, presented by Global Synthetic Ice, the official synthetic ice of College Hockey South. I'm your host, Gabe Glassman, alongside Henry Yoho and Mason Phelps, and guys, we have a jam-packed weekend for you guys. And speaking of Henry Yoho, a Pirates life for me, because in Tampa Bay, it is Gasparilla weekend. Now, for those who don't know at home, Gasparilla is essentially the Mardi Gras of Tampa Bay. Hundreds of thousands of Pirates will be invading Tampa Bay's land. They will go up to Mayor Jane Castor. They will force her to give the Pirates the keys to the city. And once the keys are taken over by the Pirates, it's all partying from there. Hundreds of thousands, like I said, are roaming the streets of Tampa, downtown, and Bayshore. And man, it is not just going to be a party on the ice, but it is party on the streets. But it's also going to be a party on the ice because, guys, through USF and UT, both based in Tampa, through 5 programs, there are 9 games being played on the Friday and Sunday of this weekend. Have you ever seen 9 games in 2 days just from 5 programs alone?
No, it's crazy. It's a big weekend here in the Tampa Bay area. It's a big weekend for College Hockey South, and especially with our couple of local programs here in the Tampa area, it's going to be crazy out there.
Mason, I know you are very excited for Gasparilla, but doesn't just college hockey, 9 games, doesn't that make you even more pumped for this weekend?
This is the best weekend of the year. There's going to be so many athletes, so many things going on this weekend. I mean, if you're not at the game, you're going to be having a good time outside of it. So I'm very much looking forward to activities this weekend.
And I'm very happy that all the teams decided not to play on the Saturday when the official Gasparilla Festival is happening in Tampa Bay, so all the players can participate. But one thing I wanted to note, it's that University of South Florida women's team, they are playing 2 games on Friday. One at 3:15 against the UT Spartans women's, and then they got to go over to another arena where Miami women's hockey is waiting for puck drop. Have you ever seen that before? Like, this is insane.
Yeah, no, we were talking about this on the College Hockey South podcast earlier today about how the Tampa women, they haven't played a game since October, and now they're coming back to playing 2 games on the same day to wrap up their regular season. It's going to be just crazy getting back in the action that way with 2 games.
Mason, you're a rugby player. What would be your reaction if you were told, hey, you got to play 2 rugby games on the same day?
Well, playing 1 is crazy enough, but playing 2 and then having to travel between them, I mean, just the tax that has on your body, I can't imagine doing that twice in one day. And I'm curious how that'll affect their game too.
Now, the games are great. The action's awesome. College hockey, it's buzzing. But, it's not just how you play. It's how you look, ladies and gentlemen. We have jerseys for USF, D3, and women's, and the D2 team. And the Tampa women's team are also featuring some beautiful Gasparilla-themed jerseys. They're on your screen right now. Take a look at these beauties. I mean, these are insane. Even the Tampa Bay Lightning from the NHL, they're going to be debuting their own Gasparilla-themed jerseys on Saturday against the New Jersey Devils. I mean, it's all great. I love New Jerseys. I love these threads. I love every single bit about them. But something I love even more, and I talk about the style, we're going to move on because, you talk about all the drip, but it's all about what's on your head. And College Hockey South this week announced the Best in Flow competition, partnering with Mid-South Amateur Hockey Association and Sick Flow Hockey to bring you a multi-round, single elimination for 1 player on each bracket. There's a men's and a women's bracket to win. First, get this, guys, this is insane. First place for each bracket gets $5,000. Second place, the runner-up, gets $2,500. Both brackets totaling $15,000 in cash prizes. I mean, if you look at our hat, I feel like Mason would win. If College Hockey Game Day had a Best in Flow competition, it'd be this guy. I mean, look at this head on lettuce right here.
It's not a perm, I swear.
Now, we all, in spirit of this competition, we all have made our pick on who we think is going to win that $5,000 cash prize. Mason, who do you think's taking it home
I'm going with the Bulls. I'm representing the women's division here right now, and I'm looking at June Warachara. Man, I mean, looking like a narwhal out there. It's pretty crazy thing going on.
Her picture is on the screen right now. I love what June Warachai is doing with this unicorn narwhal. This I don't know what it is. I love it, and I love everything about what June is doing. Hopefully, I really hope we see something like that on the ice this weekend. What do you have? Who do you have winning the bracket this year?
Yeah, so I'm also going from the women's division. Our friend Leah Klingel from the University of Tampa. She's a friend of ours because she was willing to come on our inaugural podcast episode. So she's a friend of the program, and she comes in as the number one ranked person in the tournament. And so since she was such a willing guest on our show, I have to roll with her. So I'm a big fan of hers and the University of Tampa women's team.
Smart pick.
Mason, do you think she has a chance against June?
I don't know. I mean, I may be a little biased in my opinion.
I think both of you guys are a little biased here.
You know, we'll see how it goes.
Well, you know what? I'm going to switch over to the men's division, and when I was voting on X, I couldn't help but notice seeing number 8 seed Billy Sorsby from Florida State. I mean, this guy has the best head of lettuce in the league this year. I don't know why he's number 8. He should be number 1. It's going to be hard to beat for any of them, but I'm looking forward to seeing in the coming weeks how Billy Sorsby does. I'm looking forward to seeing on June in Tampa. Everybody, it's such an awesome competition, especially for $5,000. What could you do with $5,000, Mason?
Man, I mean, if I had $5,000, I'd probably go to Mexico. That'd be the first thing I'd do.
Mexico? Henry, what about you?
Oh man, if I had $5,000, it would definitely be going towards some sort of future home or something like that. That doesn't get you too much as far as homes go these days, but at least it'd get me something going in the right direction there for sure.
I mean, $5,000. I can't believe this is awesome. I love it. This is the first best in flow competition, right?
Yeah.
This is great. This is the $15,000 in total prize money. This is huge, and you win the Best in Flow Cup. I mean, that is a title that you're gonna have under your belt for a lifetime. Well, how many people get to say they had the best flow in college hockey South?
Yeah, no, it's huge. Like you mentioned, all the money that goes into it. Like hockey's obviously an expensive sport, and all the equipment and stuff, the travel, coming up on the tournament season, having to travel long distances can go a long way for these programs.
Yeah, and speaking of tournament season, we do have a playoff situation coming up in just a couple weeks in Clarksville, Tennessee. It is the Division I playoffs, and there may only be 5 teams in the CHS Division I, but man, oh man, it is going down to the wire. Henry, who do you think is, we mentioned there's 5, only 4 make it to the playoffs for that weekend. Henry, who's going to be the odd one out?
It's hard to say right now. I mean, Auburn's obviously towards the bottom of the standings right now with a 9-8-1 record in college hockey South play so far. It's going to be close between them and their rivals from in-state Alabama. So it's going to be close to see who ends up getting that last spot in there. We're talking about Division I as well. I kind of like the way Georgia's trending. We all got a good look at them in Savannah a couple weekends ago, and I think that I really like where their game is trending right now heading into the playoffs as well.
Mason, do you have any thoughts on Division I? Who's the easy choice? Who may exit?
That's tough. I mean, no one wants to be the odd one out, but man, I don't have an answer for you on that one.
Don't have an answer. It is tough. It is really tough. I mean, we'll show you the standings on screen now. I mean, from the way I look at it, there's a 5-game gap between all 5 teams. To me, it's pretty evident Tampa's going to make it. They've been dominant all year. South Carolina, they've had a very good year. Georgia, they just won the Savannah Hockey Classic. And then you have Alabama and Auburn fighting for that last position. And if I'm being honest, Auburn has a huge weekend coming up. They go to Georgia facing the Savannah Classic champions. And I think Georgia's the team to beat right now in that Division I. Besides Tampa, not to underrate South Carolina. They've had some very big weekends, but I think Georgia may be the team to beat. I think Georgia may be the team that could win it all this year. So I'm very interested to see what the Division I playoffs bring in a couple weeks. Henry, do you have anything else regarding that?
Yeah, no, I'm really interested because this is obviously the first year of Division I, and seeing them in the playoffs, it's going to be interesting to see how they play out. These teams in the new division. I'm really excited to see it play out for the first time.
Mason, do you think Auburn can come back?
That's tough, man. I mean, they got a big game this weekend that you were talking about, and Georgia's rolling. And so a win there would be a game changer, but I don't know if I can bank on that one.
Georgia, we saw them in Savannah live. That was a great team. They played a great weekend. We saw them dominate Georgia Tech. We saw them go up against Florida. Florida went toe-to-toe with them for a little bit, and Georgia just kind of took off in a running spree and took the trophy with them, their 10th Savannah Classic Championship. So it's going to be interesting. It's going to be very, very interesting. Now we're going to move on, but before we move on to our favorite show favorite part of the show, Pick'ems, we want to shout out someone real quick. It is 9-year-old from Savannah, Elena. Now, Elena is a huge Georgia Ice Dogs fan. Unfortunately, Elena suffers from a rare form of bone cancer. She recently had part of her leg removed. Her family needs help raising funds for a wheelchair, a prosthetic leg, and other financial needs. Elena is also in need of A-negative blood due to a critical nationwide shortage. Now, we saw Elena a couple weeks ago in Savannah. We saw after Georgia won, they went over to the glass where Elena was front and center, right behind the crease. And we were all confused on who this girl was, and now we know. And it is such an awesome story how much the Georgia players embrace her with the team. She's become a part of the team. And Elena, I hope you're watching this. We're all praying for you. We are all hoping the best for you. We're hoping Georgia does good for your sake. We hope, and we're glad that College Hockey South brings you a bit of joy in these hard times. On your screen right now, for all the viewers, is Elena's GoFundMe link. The GoFundMe link will also be in the description of this video. If you can, we ask you to please donate. Any money you can, and if you can't donate, that is okay. But please share Elena's story. There is a full page about it on College Hockey South socials right now. Elena, thank you so much for letting us share your story. Now let's move on to our favorite part of the show. I'm talking about Pick'ems, ladies and gentlemen, and oh my, we have a great slate for you. Let's take a look at the records real quick. Me and Henry getting back from a 3-6 to 9-9. I had an alright second time around, but I'm still well above 500. Mason,
wasn't a good first showing for me though. We'll start there.
You guys see the record. I don't need to call him out. Tyler isn't with us. We don't know his record, so he's not here. But Mason, man, what happened?
I tend to pick on emotion and not pick off of statistics, and that bit me last weekend. It's tough because I want someone to win, but maybe I shouldn't vote for him. So we'll change that up this weekend.
All right. So with that in mind, we are gonna go straight into it with our first game. We have Delaware's AAU Division I team versus Florida Atlantic's Division II team. Mason, let's start with you. Who do you got in that game?
I'm taking Delaware. Maybe an interesting pick.
Why?
It's the D1 program.
Okay.
That's the best thing I got for you.
That's it. Henry, who do you got in that game, man?
I'll pick FAU. Delaware traveling all the way down to Florida in this one. I think it's a pretty close matchup though, but we like Florida Atlantic. They're a pretty good team all around, so that's who I'm going to go with in this one.
I'm also going to go with Florida Atlantic. Matthias Weir, the Argentinian masterpiece. He surpassed 250 career points last weekend. What a player he's been. He's going for the MVP trophy in Division II. We're going to talk about him a lot more in our show in a couple weeks when we overlook Division II playoffs. But, man, what a team that is. They're already in the playoffs. They're already locked in. So I'm excited to see what FAU does, and I think they're going to wipe the floor with Delaware this weekend. Moving on, we were talking about this earlier. It is the Division I matchup of Auburn versus Georgia. Mason, what do you got for us?
Georgia. I think that's a... You don't want to say much about that.
You don't say much about it, and I'm going to go Georgia as well. The 10-time Savannah Class champions. I've seen enough 2 weeks ago. Georgia, all day. Henry, what do we got?
Yeah, I think it's going to be 3 red with the dogs on that one.
Let's get the brooms out. It's a clean sweep on college hockey game day. Let's move on then. We have Ole Miss Division II versus Alabama D3. This is an interesting one. Alabama's been really strong in that Division III group. Ole Miss is having a lackluster year. But let's see what the picks are. Mason, what do we got?
I might be against you guys on this one, but I'm taking Ole Miss.
Ooh, okay. Is there any reasoning behind that?
I'm giving preference to, what division they're in. I really think that there is a divide this year, and so I'm going Ole Miss.
All right, Henry, what do you got for us?
So this is like the second game for Ole Miss over the weekend. They're playing Alabama D1 first, and so that's obviously gonna be a tough battle for them. But they're playing Alabama D3 on Sunday, I believe it is, and so I think that's a game that Ole Miss can win. So I'm gonna roll with the Rebels on that one too.
As much as I want to go Ole Miss, I think they're just going to be tuckered out from that game. So I'm going to go with Alabama D3. They've had a great year. I think Alabama D3 is going to continue rolling. Roll Tide. A little wordplay there, I know. But we're gonna roll on to the next game. Florida Southern Division III versus Tampa Division II. Mason, we'll start with you.
I think Tampa's got a great program, and it's hard. They're in my city, but I'm going Tampa this weekend.
All right, Henry, what do we got?
Yeah, so these teams play each other all the time when the Tampa D2 team was in Division III last year, so these teams are pretty familiar with one another. The Tampa team usually got the better of those matchups, and so I'm going to pick them as well. But I do really like what Florida Southern is doing as well, though.
I love what Florida Southern is doing, and I love it so much that I'm picking them in this matchup. They've had a great year. You talk about their matchups last year. That's last year, buddy. Let's stop living in the past. Let's live in the present. We're going Florida Southern Division III. Moving on, we are going to down south. It is a down south matchup. It is Miami Division III versus Lynn Division II. Mason, what do you got for us?
I've been talking big about divisions and how they matter, but I'm going to go against what I said earlier, and I'm going to take Miami this time.
And if you guys know me, if you guys watched the first episode, I'm a Miami boy. I'm a vote Canes all day. Division III, what a year they've had. They're going to continue it this weekend against Lynn. Henry, what do you got?
Yeah, it's going to be 3 on the Canes. I really like what Miami's doing, one of the top 3.
Another sweep. Oh my gosh. We're getting the brooms out for everything these days.
Yeah.
Why do you like the Canes?
Yeah, they're one of the top teams in the Division III. I just really like where their game's going right now. And playing against Lynn, Lynn, the season hasn't gone the way they wanted to so far, but I think that Miami's got, aspirations to kind of take their program to the next level, so I'm going to take the Canes in this one.
All right, sounds good to me. But let's move on to our next game, and it's an interesting one. It's a Division II matchup close to the playoffs. It is the Central Florida Knights versus Embry-Riddle. This is a big game. This is a lot of playoff implications on it. Very close matchup in Division II. Mason, we'll start with you as always.
I'm going to take Embry-Riddle this weekend.
You're taking the Pilots.
Yeah, airplane U.
Airplane.
Good luck, guys.
You know what? Just for that, I'm going Airplane U. I'm loving it. Embry-Riddle, they had a great start to their season. They've kind of not put their put enough performance in the middle part. But I think Embry-Riddle, they're going to make this big playoff push. So as much as I've seen UCF play and they've had a great year, I think Embry-Riddle, they're at home. That I've been in that barn. That is a great arena. They have amazing home fans. Clown them all you want for being aeronautical students. This airplane is gonna fly. It's gonna soar, and it's gonna soar all the way past the Knights in Orlando. Henry, what do you got for that
this
game?
matchup is so close. I've gone back and forth a few times on this one, but I'm gonna have to go against you guys. I'm gonna pick UCF to go on the road and go into a tough environment. Going across the state. I'm going to roll with the Knights in this one.
All right. Well, let's move on to what I think is one of the best games we will have all season. It is almost certainly one of the best games this weekend. I'm talking about Tennessee versus Clemson D2. I mean, this is you can go either way. Mason, we'll start with you.
Tennessee, they didn't win the Savannah Cup, but they had a good showing, in my opinion, and I'm going to have to roll with them this weekend.
I'm also rolling with Tennessee. They have Connor Frazier, who's had a great year, had a somewhat quiet Savannah Classic, but they still got third, which is pretty good. But, I'm going to go Tennessee, and it is, I'm looking at the rankings right now. It is literally a 3-point difference. It can go either way in that North Division. So I am going Tennessee in a close one. Henry, what do we got?
Yeah, I was going back and forth on it. This is another real close matchup, a big one with playoff implications on the line. I'm going to go with Clemson. They're at home. I visited Clemson, South Carolina in November, went to a football game, had a fantastic time. So my friends at Clemson, I'm going to roll with the Tigers.
All right. Well, before we go into these last two games featuring UCF and UT games, what a slate of games we've had. This is a great weekend of College Hockey South. So let's move on to our final two games. The first game is probably one of the biggest ones. It's USF Ice Bulls versus the Florida Gators in Division II. South Florida needs a win. They need one desperately. They're 6th in the South Division right now. Florida is, they're second, but if you look at the standings, it is very, very close. You have 4 teams within 3 points of each other. It is neck and neck. It could be anybody's game. Mason, who are you going with?
I think the pressure of Gasparilla and the big weekend, but I'm going to take USF. I'm going to roll my Bulls.
All right, Henry, what do you have?
Yeah, those Gators, they love to come down here for Gasparilla weekend. Who can blame them, right? But, USF, the season hasn't really gone the way they wanted to. I really like the team that Florida's got. But USF, they got the Gasparilla weekend. They got the New Jerseys and stuff. They got the home game. Friday night, I feel like they got to pull one out here at home.
This is a very tough game. We saw Florida play in that Savannah Classic, but I think the Gators are going to play the role of Pirates this weekend. I think they're going to come in to Advent Health Center Ice. They're going to invade on the Ice Bulls home barn, and they're going to take over. Because Florida, they're not just going to be winning this weekend's game. I think they are the team to upset Florida Atlantic and win the Division II playoff. So, with that, I'm going Florida. It's a very big controversial game, but I think Florida just has an amazing team this year, and I think they're going to have an amazing stretch up into mid-February when that Division II playoff takes off. And before we move on from the Gasparilla talk, I just wanted to ask you guys, we're going to have a 60-second debate here. Put it on the clock. I don't have a clock here, but just put a clock on somewhere. Both sides. Who would win in a combat fight? Jack Sparrow or Captain Hook? Henry, we'll start with you.
I got Jack Sparrow, just because I associate our friend Captain Hook with being animated, so I feel like the skill set of Jack Sparrow is a lot more versatile because, more live action. I like his skill set a lot.
Okay, more. Jack Sparrow, all right. Mason, let's go.
I'm going with Captain Hook.
Ooh!
Fighting against Peter Pan, that's like the best enemy you could ever have.
But he lost.
You can lose and still be the man. Look at the mustache, the hook. It's not even a contest, honestly.
But, okay, well, time's up. It's my turn now. I'm going with Henry over here, my boy. We're going Captain Jack Sparrow because Jack Sparrow is witty, bro. He's got the mindset. And I think that Jack Sparrow would bring out Tick-Tock Croc and, just bring him right in front of Captain Hook. Tick-tock, tick-tock, and, Captain Hook would just sprint away. Like, what's the point of that? I think he's scared. He's a little scared boy.
I don't know, the old man with the peg leg, I'm going with the old timer here. I'm still standing on it.
All right. Well, moving on. Now, we have the College Hockey South game of the week to send us home. It is the USF versus UTampa women's game. what a game. I mean, this is a big game. If you look in that women's division, Tampa is the team to beat. 7-0, undefeated. You've got to be kidding me with that. USF, though, in their first year with the CHS, they've had a decent year. They're third, 3-5, but compared to the other contenders, they've had a pretty decent year. And USF has been able to put up a fight in a lot of those games. So, with that information, Mason, who are you going with?
I'm going to go against my best in flow judgment, but I'm going to go UT Women.
Ooh!
I think that you can't vote against them.
Can't vote against them?
No.
Okay. Henry?
Yeah, I'm going to go with the Tampa women as well. These girls, they're a serious contender for the national championship of the women's division. You know, they are yet to have a loss on their record so far, and it's going to be hard for anybody to beat those girls.
You know, we have another battle at the base situation coming on here. You have the Tampa women's team, 7-0. USF, looking to just inch their way a little bit higher in those standings. But in the Gasparilla Battle of the Bay edition, I am agreeing with Mason. You can't vote against the UT Spartans women's team. This team has been so dominant. They have proven they are the dominant women's team time after time after time. There is no betting against the Tampa women's team. It is another clean sweep across the board.
Get the brooms
Man, I really hope we don't look silly for those 3 games or any of these games, because Mason, if your record plummets a lot more, you're going to look pretty bad.
I might lose my job.
Well, anyways, guys, that is our show. Thank you so much for tuning in. We will see you again in 2 weeks when we will be featuring the College Hockey South Division 1 playoffs. For Mason Phelps and Henry Yoho, I'm Gabe Glassman, and guys, it is time for game time.
Global Synthetic Ice is the longest operating company in the industry with over 25 years of innovation and experience. The company brings the feel of skating on real ice to wherever you can think of. With its sleek and functional design, the synthetic ice is perfect for indoors, outdoors, and anywhere you can fire a slap shot. For decades, the question has always been, how do you get kids to play hockey in a state like Florida? How do you make it affordable for kids to get involved with hockey with the ever-rising costs that traditional facilities charge for ice time? Global Synthetic Ice has the answer. Make the game available for everyone, everywhere. 6-time Stanley Cup champion Mark Messier, Tampa Bay Lightning captain Steven Stamkos, and old Lightning fan favorite Marty St. Louis are all big fans of the product and how it can help bring hockey to kids everywhere. They're a glowing endorsement from NHLers and referees, which should show how a product like this can make change. Even legendary referee and analyst Kerry Frazier loves the synthetic stuff. He says, "Oh my gosh, it's just like real ice." Global Synthetic Ice has helped grow the game through innovation and enables more youth participation and skill development. Thanks again to Global Synthetic Ice for sponsoring our Battle of the Beach tournament. Here's to a great weekend.
I gotta tell you, I'm really pretty nervous. This is the first time that I've stepped on Global Synthetic Ice. I hear that it's the same as real ice, but I feel like Bambi stepping on the legs for the first time. Let's check it out, and I'll get back to you. Whoa!